Hello, gentle viewers. This is Guardian, welcoming you back to Out of the Park Baseball 26 with the Chicago White Sox. Our previous episode, um, I honestly don't remember if we made the playoffs or not. I'm pretty sure we didn't. I'm pretty sure we missed by like one game. Yeah, just a bit of a bummer. Um, this has been a very interesting team, and that we're vacillating pretty wildly from season to season. Um, So remember, we took over starting in uh 25, I think. Yeah, 25 was our first official season. Or was it 24? No, it's definitely 25. It was definitely 25. Um and I'm proud of what we've accomplished. Like let me set things off with that specifically. I'm very proud of what we've accomplished. We took a team that was in the basement, we rapidly got them back to the postseason, and we've been able to get there relatively frequently. But the problem is that we pretty wildly underperform our Pythagorean record sometimes. Um, and it's like we're a much more consistent team than we appear to be. Our talent level is right around the 86 to 89 win mark. But then we get really lucky some seasons. And all this is to say, we need to figure out why this number keeps happening. So a couple things really tend to affect your Pythagorean record. This isn't a recipe, but it's a place to start. I want to look at our standings from the previous season, and I want to look at the expanded standings here. Okay. We were 501 run games, which isn't the best, but it's not the worst either. We got creamed on the away circuit. Interesting. Hmm. This is more what I expect to see for someone that has really bad Pythagorean records, that they do poorly in one-run games. Um, I guess 500 is not a great strategy. I do notice we got significantly worse after the All-Star break. And we struggled a bit against left-handed pitching. I think this is a bit of a surprise to me because I'm fairly certain we have a fairly right-handed lineup. No, I guess that's not necessarily true. I mean, two of our more important hitters in Dean Urias and Chris Hernandez are both lefties, so. Um, although, Rios does have a fairly pronounced platoon split. Um, Hernandez is a little bit worse, but he's not appreciably worse. How bad have you been over your career against left-handed pitching? You've been pretty bad. Um, Interesting. Okay. That's useful information. I don't think this alone explains how poorly we did from a Pythagorean record perspective, but it's a piece of it. Another thing that really affects your Pythagorean record is an ineffective bullpen. And that definitely hurt us. We left Raul Barrera in his closer for far too long. I know Pip says he's a better pitcher than he looked to be. His BABIP was ridiculous last year. Like people are hitting when people don't want to play, they're hitting 400. That's not likely to happen, except it did happen just 2 seasons ago. Um, his movement isn't great, right? Like that makes Barrera a bit dicey. The fact his movement is sort of poor means he's always going to be prone to giving up the home run ball. And strikeout rates had to basically be ridiculous to carry past his home run issues. So Barrera probably wasn't a great fit as a closer. Notice how much more things stabilized when we had Chance Livingston added to the team, who does have better movement, who does keep the ball down better, and who does suppress opponent success more than Barrera did. So that should help. That should help a fair bit. Looks like we made a lot of errors. Who are our bad defensive performers? These are things we can potentially fix in order to try to make our team more consistent. Not ratings. I wanted fielding stats. I almost clicked on the right thing and then clicked on the wrong thing. Okay. Our defense isn't that bad. Um, getting Edwin or getting I don't know what call them Edwin Rios, getting Dangerous out of the field has massively helped there. Um, Edwin Hernandez isn't a great first baseman, but he's also a first baseman, so it's hard to get too excited about it. Adam Smith apparently has made quite a few problems. Okay, 13 errors at first base is a lot of errors to make. Um, I know it's true he hasn't played the field very much, and maybe he'll be fine, but that's something to monitor. 13 errors is a lot of errors to make at first base. Shortstop making lots of errors, I can accept because he's probably getting the ball so other people wouldn't. I think it's where we don't have a great defender more than we have bad defender. I mean, Chris Hernandez is pretty good. Um, it doesn't help that our center fielder's range is a little bit sus. Yeah, I don't think we're that bad off. In all honesty, I think we could do better in certain places for sure. But I don't know that this necessarily explains it. I think Barrera's struggles probably explain it more than anything else. This is a guy that we should be able to count on, and we weren't able to do that last year, which is obviously very problematic. Hmm. So realistically, what do we need to do? Adam Smith's opening round as catcher went very poorly. Adam Smith was just a bit of a disappointment from top to bottom. No, I have other catchers, obviously. I have other paths to improving our catching. But that may be something we want to pay attention to, for sure. Um, Immediate minor league upgrades, as I'm considering my team here. Brian Bittner didn't do well in his major league debut. He did okay, I guess. I still want him on this team because I think he could be a very useful player at the top of the lineup. Chris Ehrlich was pretty bad, which doesn't surprise me, by the way. Um, we gave him a shot, and he didn't really do anything with it. And I know he was kind of hot in the minors, but then when he made the majors, he wasn't able to keep that up. Um, that speaks to me that Ehrlich probably goes. We could play Bittner in center. I don't like the idea of that, to be honest with you, because his arm is so weak. I value arm strength in a center fielder. Um, I think he's going to be a fine corner outfielder, but I don't think he's a center fielder. I don't know anybody's going to want Bobby Pena, right? Like, nobody's going to look at this guy and go, yes, the player I've been looking for. Probably not. I think Todd Becker is somebody we can potentially trade. Um, I've got a dedicated DH in Danny Rios, so a guy who can't play the outfield doesn't have a ton of value for me. Um, let's see what kind of center field options are on the menu. I'll look at regulars and veterans too, but I want a center fielder if I can get it. You're not a center fielder. What? That's a neat trick, guys, but that's not a center fielder. That's not a center fielder at all. Let's look at the greens. Look. Yes, he is aware of center field. I game. Waters, Ruiz both suck. Hmm. Eh, I'm not seeing a ton of people that really excite me. I mean, I like Keon a fair bit for his overall profile, but he's not a center fielder, and he's a pretty bad outfielder in general. Robert Casas is acceptable. Okay, this might be the guy. And you're an amazing center fielder. I think you're exactly what I'm looking for. Let's bring on Ricardo Vasquez. That helps a lot. This helps me feel so much better about our team. We've got a nice, young, cost-controlled center fielder. Amazing. I don't know much he's going to offer offensively. His skill set is interesting. A lot of gap power, decent overall power and batting edge, strikes out a lot. It's not going to take a lot of offensive skill for him to be a pretty good player because of how good he is defensively. He is arbitration eligible, but that's not a problem for me. Alright, so that's sorted. That's one problem we have managed to solve. I'm going to go ahead and waive Varner, Munoz, and Lee. Let's say goodbye to each of them. And then Ferris, Niley for sure gets added to the 40-man. I don't hate Bobby Pena by any stretch of the imagination, but I don't think he really moves the needle for me. I don't think he really. He's not the kind of guy I can trust in center field. Um, like at best he would be average. No, he has had a pretty great minor league career, so he's probably earned at least an opportunity in the big leagues. But I'm not going to give it to him. Maybe in spring training, perhaps. All right, so that's that part sorted. There's that part. I don't know. All of a sudden, I went Boston, but yeah. Hugo Gonzalez. Let's get you working on your plate discipline. I know it's boring. I know it's what I always start with, but it's a good skill to develop. Speaking of development, I need to double check how much we're spending on it, and I have a feeling it's not very much. Why do I click every button that's wrong? Yeah, we're not. Okay, so this is a quick moment to pause and talk about what's happening here. We have a team with a lot of highly paid veteran talent, and that hurts us because I can't then devote money to player development. We're below the baseline, and that's generally not a great look. Same thing with the scouting. So essentially, we spend all of our money to pay players, and that means we don't have enough money to really support the staff the way we like to support them. Now, some of this problem is going to get better, maybe. But it is something that's considered. We're basically spending all of our money on major league talent and not enough on developing minor league talent, which is why we've had so many struggles with that over the seasons. So we're shedding quite a bit of payroll in a couple of seasons, and that might give us some money to start reinvesting in our minor league system. But for right now, that's where we are. That's why we're in the mess we're in at the moment. Is I don't have the extra cash to develop right now. That may change quite a bit, and so we can readjust them. All right, back to the situation hand here. Let's go back to player development. Um, I like Carlos Geronimo. I don't dislike him. Plate discipline. Brian Bittner, I need you to be able to start putting charges in the ball. This is what you're missing, your gap power. Once you get this stepped up, I think you'll be an effective hitter. So let's work on that. Let's work on your gap power. All right. Alex Alvarado, work on control. Justin Ferris, you've got a shot to win a job out of spring training, potentially. Although you've been kind of stuck in the rookie league, I think we need to address that. You need to work on your movement, I believe, Mr. Ferris. Let's work on that. Let's look at the active roster now. Kevin Meredith. You still walk way too many people for my liking. The rest of your skill set is pretty solid. I'm not calling you a bad pitcher or anything, but you walk way too many people. Let's have you keep plugging away at your control. Yes, work on defense, so work on control, please. And Adam Wiley probably also needs to work on his control. No, he needs to work on his secondary pitches, actually. Or does he work on his movement? His movement is already fairly solid. Yeah, I think getting those secondary pitches up will really help him quite a bit. So we'll do that. All right. There's that. Salary arbitration time. Would I give Oscar Balboa comp time? There is a risk here, right? There's a risk that he takes the offer. And that's not something that I want to happen. But I think of all the possible risks, it's a relatively decent one to take. What's his? I need to check his financial ambition. His financial ambition is really high, then it becomes elementary. He's gonna think he's worth 30 million, and he won't take my offer. And getting another draft pick would be mighty sweet at this point. I think we're gonna risk it. The other three, absolutely not. Franklin Munoz, you're gonna be non-tendered. I don't want you anymore. Alex Garcia definitely gets a new contract. That's not even a question. He's been our most effective starting pitcher for a bit now, so we can happily bring him along. Andrew Picar, his rookie season was a lot better than his second season, mostly because of the walks, which are always going to be a problem with him, right? He is a naturally risky starting pitcher to have on the team. He's got every skill you could possibly want in a pitcher, except the ability to keep the ball in the strike zone consistently. And so we're going to very closely monitor his performance. And if a move to the bullpen may be in his future. But for now, a one-year deal is perfectly relevant and acceptable. All right. Raul Barrera. Oh, Dustin Vasquez 100% gets non-tendered. You're nothing special. Do we keep Raul Barrera? And there's a few questions to be answered with him. He's only really been great one season, which was in 2039. I think he's still an overall good pitcher. I'm not going to say that he's not, but he's not a closer. He's definitely just a standard middle reliever. Um, I would call it highly unlikely people hit 400 every time they put the ball in play against him, but then that exact thing happened 2 years ago. His salary demand is fairly modest, and as long as we keep him out of high leverage situations, at least to start out with, I think we'll probably get an okay return on our investment. I think keeping Barrera makes sense. For now. For now. But he definitely will not be the closer. He'll probably just be another middle reliever. Nope. Can offer you 3.2 million. Nope. Okay. To be clear, if you don't take under the market value, I will trade you. Okay. All right. Joel Sampson. I think we've seen what we needed to for Mr. Sampson, and what we've seen is that he's not good enough. He's not good enough defensively. He's not good enough offensively. He's a good backup catcher, but he's not a starting catcher. You'll notice his best season by far is when he wasn't starting all the time. But I think he gets overexposed as a starting catcher. Um, Now, I don't think Adam Smith is amazing by any stretch of imagination at this particular second in history, but I think he's got a lot more potential than Sampson. And I do have Jose Hernandez if we wanted some glove work as our backup. So, all this is to say, I think Joel Sampson is going to find himself a new team right here. I only want prospects for him. I don't want a starter of any caliber. All right. A good young relief pitcher that could potentially start like him is exactly the kind of return that I'm looking for. Welcome to the club, Brian Malone. I could ask for more, but frankly, this is fine. This is totally fine. I don't need to worry myself too much about digging for another prospect or two. Who else did we trade away? I want to make sure that people are appropriately flagged so we can talk about them later. Todd Becker, you're a former Sock now. Alright, new arbitration. Okay. Dan Halpern, I would love to replace him in the not too distant future, and I guess there are people that could do that. John Cole, for one. John Cole doesn't play second base, but I bet you could probably pick it up pretty quickly. But right now, Halpern is the best we got. Halpern is the best we got. We've got some good second base options, like Hugo Gonzalez would be an amazing second baseman, but for the present, Halpern is good enough that we need to try to meet his price, which is considerable. He is asking for $6 million. Now, he has put together 3 consecutive seasons of pretty high performance, so $6 million seems a reasonable price to me. But I'm not going to give him a long-term contract. I think Halpern is the kind of guy that I would often trick myself into, thinking, oh wow, he's exactly the kind of guy we want for years and years and years. I think Halpern is good. I'm not saying he's not good. But I am saying that overinvesting in him will probably be a mistake. I'll give you 5.8 million and you'll like it. There you go. Can I afford to lose Armando Beltran from a leadership perspective? He's our only captain. So I think until I find a better captain, I think Armando Beltran's relatively small salary gets paid. It's whatever. I'm not going to nickel and dime the team to that extent. Ricardo Vasquez, we definitely give an extension to. For a 4-year deal, what are we talking about here? What about a 6-year deal? Yeah, and let's get a couple team options in here. Done. This is insurance. This is insurance against him having a breakout offensive season and start demanding a lot more money. Chris Hernandez has been exceptional his entire career with the White Sox. He's the new Garrett Kozic, and that his ratings don't suggest he should actually be this good, but he's very good defensively. He's got smart base running, and he's a good hitter. You know what? I'm comfortable with this. I'm fairly comfortable with this deal. Alright, so it's all these folks sorted. Nobody's going to want Munoz or Vasquez, so I'm not going to waste my time. Yeah. Alright. I could keep Kozic. I choose not to. I want to get rid of Chris Ehrlich, actually. Because, I don't know if you notice, he's disruptive, so this will improve team chemistry just to get rid of him. And if I can add something in return, like a pretty competent relief pitcher, I will take that deal every day of the week. And you notice, nobody liked Chris Ehrlich, and we were talking about making room for him anyway, so this is acceptable. Alright. What work is there left to do? What else do we need to do in order to make this team as competitive as possible? We need a veteran starting pitcher. I think that's probably number one on the list. That's definitely number one on the list. I'm not married to Adam Smith as the catcher. I think we could improve there. We could get a better outfielder. Would Edwin Lucio fetch much of a price, I wonder? He's probably not in a great space because he's not playing consistently. But he's also purely potential this one. He has barely made any significant improvements as a player. What kind of players would people part with for an Edwin Lucio? Nobody, huh? Interesting. Nobody wants him at all. That's fair. That's very fair. I'm not going to waive him because somebody will take him for free. But I need to do something with Lucio. I need to do something with him fairly soon. Alright. Cool. We could keep Kozic, but I have a feeling that keeping him is just a nostalgia thing and without actually making the team better, especially with Brian Bittner on tap. Justin Rice is also a very good second base option if we decide to say goodbye to Halpern in the near future. We've got options. We could give James Conway a rotation spot, but I really want to make sure that Adam Wiley is starting regularly. We need Jaden Charles gone. And he won't take a trade. I really wish we could make him leave. He is single-handedly keeping us from investing heavily in our farm system. Maini too. But at least Maini's producing for the gigantic sack of cash we're giving him. You not so much. Any coaches I need to mess with? I do need to get some coaches here. We need a new AA hitting coach. Joel Dragoo, you're in. Brian Calmer is 100% worthy of being an A-ball hitting coach. Doug Reinhardt is equally capable. So now we just have to hire 2 rookie hitting coaches, and I think that's a very doable task. I would love to get Andres Suarez on board. It'll probably cost me a bit, but I think it'll be worth it. And let's get Jonathan Embry. No. Let's get Connor Lewis. Offers made. Okay, so free agency will have a little bit of catch. I'd like to get a veteran starter if I can. I'd like to upgrade the bullpen a little bit. Yeah. Now, Balboa may well take the qualifying offer. If he does, that's not the worst thing in history, but it's not a great thing either. I really hope he doesn't take it, because I'd really like to get that draft pick. Oh, Anthony Pack Jr., I forgot we had him. Why can't I just release you? Oh, I can do. Okay, great. I'm releasing Jay Horner too, since I am not paying him $12 million to just be hurt again. I don't care, fans. Quit your belly aching. Like, I'm sorry that you're sad, but, like, I can't afford to. Wow, people love them some Franklin Munoz and Barry Varner. I guess Varner is somebody I should have at least considered keeping, maybe. But I'm not that fussed by it. I will happily mark you as a former Sock and wish you all well. Franklin Munoz is not very good. I guess OSA likes him more than I do, but I think he's just mid. So you guys have fun. Munoz and Varner are both gone. Noted. Contracts have gotten signed. Fans are pretty jazzed about Alex Garcia. You want more money. That's reasonable. I think 125 grand is acceptable. And then we're just going to zip on down to free agency filing. I don't think there's any reason to stop before then. Really? You're a really good coach, so I will pay you your 150 grand, but you need to just take my damn offer. Jerk. Nick Lee, you can return to AAA. Have fun. Am I convincing myself I need to get rid of Dan Halpern? Maybe. Yeah, I think somebody else probably signed him, would be my guess. We'll need to check out coaching again. Shit. I don't love it. It's not unsurprising, but that's still kind of a bummer. Technically, I get credit for Vasquez winning a Gold Glove because he was on my team. Alex Garcia got one too. Nice. Silver Slugger for Danny Rios. Okay. Enrique Castillo has found himself a new home. I remember him. Did you ever actually play for me? No, you were turned into Andres Munoz, who's already retired. Altar is by far the more useful player. This is really a bummer, actually. I kind of hope you wouldn't take it. I have some money that I can reinvest. I will use it to increase my player development budget, unless I find good free agents that are worth my time. There's nothing wrong with running a team this way, by the way. There's absolutely nothing wrong with running a team this way, where you invest more heavily in major league talent. But it's a situation that I think isn't sustainable, and I think as our players start to age, I think we're going to have a harder time replacing them. But it could be a lot worse. Could be a lot worse. I have $12 million, so we want to get fairly cheap. Um, Josh Price is okay. I'm absolutely not going to. Like, this is very reasonable. He'll probably want a major league deal, but I'm at least willing to consider the option. So I said the one thing I wanted was a starting pitcher, and that's clearly not what I'm getting here. Like, former friend of the White Sox, Alex Pulido, is one of the better starting pitching options, which is not encouraging. I will offer Mr. Pulido a minor league contract if he wants it, and if he takes it, great. If he doesn't, that's equally fine. Are there any good players at all in this class here? I wonder. Wow. This is an objectively bad free agent class. Like, it's really bad. Yeah, we could be in trouble here in terms of actually upgrading the team. We could try to bring back Jay Horner. I don't think that's very smart. We could try Orlando Rodriguez again. Yeah, Jay Horner's pissed at me, and that's not unreasonable. That's not a bad take. I can find medium tier relievers, but I'm not finding anybody here that really excites me. I think we just hand out some minor league options in this particular class. Um, and we invest a little bit more into our player development. I think that's our path to success this year. So we're gonna do 12 million even. We're still not even at the league baseline, but this is still acceptable to me. Um, oh god, free agents haven't even filed yet. That's why the market looks so shitty. I'm a potato. I'm a big potato. Okay, this looks like a much better draft class. Okay. Then let me withdraw these contracts because I do want to be involved in veterans more than I want to be involved in other people. I'm negative $9 million. Oh no. Oh, it's because now Balboa's contract is kicked in. Damn it. Does anybody actually want Balboa? Is there any market for him? I would love to be able to sign a free agent or two, but I clearly can't do that because of him being a jerk. Man, I got heckin' bamboozled, guys. And now I can't afford anybody. Oh, there we go. The money has been fixed. No, it hasn't. It's still negative $9 million. I should have done it for Balboa. That was a big mistake. That's something we're going to pay for. 100%. Well, that was an easy off season. Because I can't sign anybody unless they're willing to sign for free. And there's some decent players in this free agent class now. I am such a melon. Y'all are probably sitting there laughing your asses off at my stupidity. As you should. As you should. Alright. So basically, our only way to add cheap talent is going to be through the Rule 5, which is reasonable. That's a reasonable take. Trade proposal. Rodney Whitmer isn't a bad player, especially with you eating part of his salary. Dan Sexton sucks. David Antunes sucks. Evan Bush does not suck. Evan Bush is a legit captain type. If I drop Bush, does this deal still happen? No. You want Bush? Then I'm not going to bother. I need a great year out of Cardia. I took a big swing trading for him, and he ended up being pretty bad. I'm not objecting to getting a new reliever. I am objecting to giving up Evan Bush, who might even have a chance to back up this season. So we got some of these guys. Amazing. Love that for us. Bobby Witt Jr., yes. Logan Webb, yes. Tariq Scooby-Doo, yes. Julio Rodriguez, yes. DeGrom, yes. Justin Crawford is a no from me. I know he's compiled a decent career, but 50 WAR, but only getting 2,000 hits gives me some concern. His peak isn't that great. Doesn't have very much hardware either. I mean, I guess I can vote for him, but I don't feel great about it. And I'm only voting for him because I have so much room on my ballot, because this is not a terribly exciting draft class. James Wood I like quite a bit more. I think this is a much more worthy stat line, although our problem is we just don't have great players because I would say a lot with OOTP 26, people don't have long careers anymore. People are retiring a lot earlier, they're getting hurt or what have you. And because you don't get those really long careers, you don't get those really big stat numbers. Like Raisel Iglesias, the closest, had a 20-year career, and his stats are thoroughly mediocre. Yeah, I think we just vote for the guys we got. It's just not a very good draft class. It's not a very good Hall of Fame class. We signed a bunch of minor leaguers, which is nice. I certainly don't hate that. I didn't randomly get like the first overall pick, so that's fine. Balboa, you're very selfish to have accepted my offer. I can offer you a $0 signing bonus. That is what I can offer you, Mr. Pulido. I have five spots on the 40 man. I'm definitely hoping to get some actual contributors here. I would love a quality catcher. I'd love some more outfield depth. I would love a lot of things. Ouch. Fell through a barn roof. That's why you don't do your own roof repair, in my opinion. Um, I think it's always a better idea to let professional contractors do shit. Unless you already know what you're doing. Um, yeah. People are doing alright. Brett Reed is signed with Miami. We're now doomed forever. Have we lost our player development boost yet? We haven't yet. But it will change. It will change. This is going to be a struggle season, but it's going to get better. We can get out of Jaden Charles's contract this offseason, this coming offseason. Um, Miami's high on financial ambition. There's every possibility he opts out. And that would be enormous for us. That would be so huge. So huge. Chris Waters, we could opt out of his contract too if we wanted to, save some money that way. We could free up a lot of payroll next season, and make some genuine improvements that I think would be very welcome. We do have some nice cost certainty here. I like getting Vasquez so cheap. I like getting Chris Hernandez fairly inexpensively. Our other core is pretty well solid. With Edwin Hernandez, Herb Berry, and Danny Rios, I think those are our most important players here. So this is the struggle bus season. This is the season in which we have to be very, very cautious. All right. I want people that can contribute right now. That's my goal with this Rule 5 draft. I'd like to find some baseball players, if such a thing exists. We lost Bobby Pena. I'm not surprised. I thought there was a reasonably fair chance somebody else would grab him because he's not a terrible player, but I don't think he was ever going to succeed here. So congratulations, San Diego. Hope you enjoy him. Alex Hubbard's been taken. Was it a mistake not to keep him? Probably not. He's an okay shortstop. I'm not saying he's a bad one, but I'm saying that I don't think it really changes anything, you know? Alright. Mike Cazares is a hard no. Keith Patrick is a hard no. Manuel Bobadillo, on the other hand, is somebody that I think could really help us out. A well-established backup catcher, I think, is a really good thing for us to have. Let's go ahead and grab him. Done. Okay, let me look at all players. I'll have to look at pictures too, please. Jared Crispin's not bad. The value of acquiring him is I can shove him on the 60-day IL for a while, which is pretty helpful. Angelo Chino is not that interesting. He's not that good a pitcher. Oh, clear this filter too. He had Nick Van Winkle. Wow. He's not terrible. I could definitely use a player of his skill level, but I'm not going to pay for it. Luis Gaspar, this is just a fucking trap. I am not paying that deal. Try again, amigos. Try again. Yoshihisa Miyamobuchi? That's a pretty good name, but he's only a first baseman. Shihei Nishimura. Not a terrible pitcher by any stretch of the imagination, but it's also a pretty big take in terms of money, and I don't have that kind of money. Oh, I thought you said RP. You're a right fielder. I could see Justin Payne working out as like a reasonably good reliever. That's something I think we can add on to the club. And then let's look for raw potential. And let's take a stab at a Cameron Brumett. Let's do it. He's got all the talent in the world, but I acknowledge that he is very far away from the major leagues. But we'll see if we can develop him here. Oh, you're right. I didn't hit the button to say finish the draft. My apologies. Man, I wish we could trade Balboa or Charles. No, there's every possibility that Maini chooses to keep his existing contract. I think what happens is he opts out and has to take less money. I think that's genuinely what happens to him. Oh, Tariq Skubal made the Hall of Fame. Good for him. Good for Skubal Doo. That's the name he likes to be called. I've never met Tariq Skubal, but if he isn't calling himself Skubal Doo, I think there's yeah, you cut my budget because you're a bitch. Understood. Bobby Witt Jr. made it. Emmanuel Classe is very yikes in the news these days. Bit of a betting scandal between with him and Luis Ortiz, saying that they deliberately pitched poorly for gambling purposes, which is uncool. I have no money, so I'm not even look at the free agents. I'm just gonna cry a little bit. Keeping Bobo was a mistake. It effectively killed our flexibility this offseason, which is why this hasn't been a very thrilling episode. There's nothing I really could do about it. Justin Payne just being at an already losing velocity is exactly what I didn't want to see. Cameron Brumett got better, though. That's kind of fun. Adam Smith is getting better. That's good to see. Edwin Hernandez is getting slightly worse. Dan Halpern is slightly better. Okay. Adam Campos, keep an eye on him. He's starting to throw a little bit harder. That's pretty cool. I don't hate that. Spurn turning. All right. Justin Rice 100% is going to get some reps here in spring training. We'll do Warmington, we'll do Pulido and Donardo. Ivan Vasquez and Mike Turner. Alcala, Malone, Gunn, Garza, Rivero, Geronimo, Ramirez, Bliss, Chilo, Alvarado, Gonzalez. Yeah, there you go. Neat. Set up our lineups, please and thank you. For spring training purposes, I genuinely don't care if you randomly have Danny Rios bat leadoff, even though I think it's stupid as shit. But it's not great look either. Okay. Cool. Alex Alvarado got worse. That's not great. Ted Merritt improved his control, though. That's pretty exciting. That's pretty good stuff. Look, here's the thing. We also did the postseason last year, and this is not a worse team than last year's. So even though I'm not expecting a lot out of this club, this is kind of like the bad year, so to speak. It's still not it's still not impossible that we could make a lot of noise in the postseason this year. I truly believe that is a very big possibility. Um, Adam Wiley improving his control even a little bit is pretty exciting. I'm not gonna lie. Some other nice improvements here. Pretty exciting stuff. Losing velocity when you're already throwing that hard doesn't bother me very much. Jason Bliss got better. Brian Bittner got better. All right. Neat. I'm going to sim to the end of spring training, and then we'll see what we're looking at. Chris Waters keeps getting injured. Remember when he used to be like, oh man, we've got ourselves a genuine ace? He's been fine, but he hasn't been what we expected he would be when we took him in the first round. Hmm. And you're utterly useless. Thanks, Balboa. Great to have you on the team. Oh, wait a minute, it's not that. Alright, let's get some people dealt with on the opening day roster. So James Conway, due to lack of options, makes the opening day roster. No problem with that. I think Conway's earned himself a chance to pitch in the major leagues, and I'm happy to give him a spot. We have to get rid of 15 pitchers. That's what we're looking at here. Alright. Alvarado, we're up here. I'm just going to send people to the minors, and I'm going to have him rejigger the minors. Alcala can go to the minors. DiNardo. Ferris to the minors. Garza to the minors. Gonzalez and Rich to the minors. Niley to the minors. Pulido to the minors. Turner to the minors. Warmington to the minors. Malone to the minors. Pitching. 3 more pitchers gotta go. Okay. Fine. I like Meredith's upside, which is why I want to keep him on the Major League roster. Would Jaden Charles take a demotion? No, he wouldn't. I don't blame him, but that's still a bummer. I think we go and return Brumett. I don't have the roster space. I think we're gonna let Mr. Rockle here get through waivers, and if he gets taken, he gets taken, and we don't worry about it. We can probably return Justin Payne to his home team. I think that's reasonable. That's a reasonable take. I could just put Chris Waters on the IL to start the season. Oh, he's going to be back in 3 days anyway. So never mind. Yeah, we'll return Justin Payne. That's fine. All right, pitching staff-wise, we're going to do this. We're going to do 5-man rotation. I'm going to move Adam Wiley and then re-add him so he's not a follower. That's not what I want. What have you done to him, game? Yeah. You're just meant to be a starting pitcher. You're just meant to get your innings in or whatever. All right. I do not trust Raul Barrera. You burned me once before. You're gonna be my closer, Chase Livingston. Who's the other setup guy? Let's make the other setup guy Delgado. And let's make Raul Barrera the use more often middle reliever. That I'm fine with. Chris Waters, you're going to be the emergency starter this year. And then Jaden Charles. You're not totally hopeless. I think you can stay as a middle reliever, and I think Mr. Cooner here. Actually, you can... I'm going to make Cooner the specialist, if he wants to be. And then I don't want openers, because I don't like openers. Not with this current setup. This is reasonable. This is a reasonable distribution of pitching load. And as Barrera pitches, if he proves himself that we can trust him this season, then we can move him up into the setup role. I feel pretty good about that. All right, pitching is set. Let's set up the lineup now. I have 3 catchers. Jose Hernandez is not ready for the major leagues. So go back to the minors, my friend. Okay. Art Isbell is a reasonably good choice here, so we're going to keep him in the majors. We're going to demote Escott, Cole, Shiloh, Bliss, Geronimo. That's fine. This is basically last year's infield, and that doesn't bother me in the slightest. All right, outfield-wise, Vasquez is going to go. Rivero is going to go. Got to get rid of 2 of these guys. I think John Beamish is not a good fit for us. I think whatever his many skills are... Oh, Dan Hatcher goes to the minors. I think Beamish is gone. I think we've tried to make Beamish a thing, and he hasn't ever produced at the major league level. He's been pretty subpar. I think he just is who he is, and what he is not what we're looking for, so we're going to offer him up. As a trade player, somebody's bound to want him, and if they don't, then I will simply waive him, and if they claim him, they claim him, so be it. Alright. Let's blow all this stuff up. Let's nuke it from orbit. Alright. Okay. Hernandez and Rios should definitely go into the center. 100%. I think we do it in that order. We're going to do Hernandez, and then we're going to do Rios as the hitter who is designated and have him hit 4th. Just because Rios has a little bit more power than Hernandez, and also has that... Is there a world where Danny Rios is actually the number 3 hitter? No. I think I trust Hernandez a little bit more to drive the ball consistently. Herb Berry definitely hits 2nd. And I think Miney stays as our leadoff guy. I think the top 4 are working really well. And I don't see any reason to change that for the moment. I think Chris Hernandez is easily our 5th hitter. And then is when the mystery begins. Dan Halpern is not a great hitter, but he's a good enough hitter that I think letting him at 6th is probably reasonable. And so we've got to fill out 2 outfield spots. Okay. Starting in left field is probably Brian Bittner. I need him to play regularly to see if he can develop at all. If he develops even a little bit, by the way, he becomes a very solid player. And so I think Mr. Bittner, you're going to play left field. And you'll hit 7th for right now. Starting at check catcher is going to be Adam Smith. He's going to hit 8th. And then Ricardo Vasquez is going to slide in and play center field. And then we're going to come over here. And then Bittner gets taken out of the lineup here. And Danny Rios plays left field. Let's make some depth charts here. I don't want Bobadilla playing that frequently, but I don't object to him playing semi-frequently. I think once every 5 games is enough. Same here, too. Alright. So how does our right-handed lineup differ from a left-handed lineup? Is Chris Hernandez someone we should keep in against lefties? Oh, God, no. He was okay against lefties last season, or 2 seasons ago at this point, I guess. But yeah, I think we need Hernandez out of the lineup against lefties. So go ahead and paste this lineup in. But then hitting against lefties is going to be Edwin Lucio. He's going to play right field against... What the fuck just happened there? I'm sorry, what? Oh, I gotta paste the depth chart too, that's why. Yeah. Okay, so we do this. That's what I wanted. Is Bittner better from the right side? No, he's a true switch hitter. He's slightly better actually against right-handed pitching. I don't really want Lucio batting 5th, so I guess I'll swap him with Halpern, and then we'll generate a new depth chart. And I think letting Chris Hernandez play less frequently against left-handed pitching is going to help us out a fair bit. One thing this team lacks that I'm now noticing is you don't have a true pinch hitter. Someone who can come off the bench if we need the help, but I don't think that's necessarily a deal breaker. Alright, I'm going to do something really wild here. Danny Rios, you get the day off. And I guess we just randomly have Adam Smith be the cleanup guy. Like, I don't imagine this lineup's going to play huge dividends, but I would like to get Rios a bit more rest than he has gotten traditionally. I wish we had actually... Do I have a top tier hitter that is just waiting for opportunities? Not really. Because this is a bench right now that is currently very heavy on defense and very light on offense. Like, a world in which Armando Beltran is my designated hitter is not a world that makes me happy. I guess that's where Beamish's value might have come in at, as being the off-the-bench bat if we need one. Disappointing. Yeah, our mining system is really rough. It's because we don't have enough money to develop people consistently. Which is what it is. It is what it is. This is an okay lineup. It's an okay team. I'm not, in any stretch of the imagination, like, disappointed. But I am very concerned about depth. We've got some young players. Oh, I wanted to do that. There we go. But most of my highly ranked minor league depth is just that. They're depth players. They're not players that are ever going to have a lasting role on the team. And our hitting in particular is really bad. We've got some offense lurking lower in the league, but like as far as like major league ready offensive talent, we don't have it. Maybe Beamish clears waivers, and then we can casually have him available in the minors. That helps a little bit, but it doesn't help a lot. It does not help a lot. That's probably something we need to address. Our current major league talent very much is excellent. Very, very much is ready to play meaningful games and possibly make it back into the postseason. But the minor league cupboard is quite bare. If we look at our prospect pipeline here and we take a look just at the White Sox, yeah, it's like Hugo Gonzalez is 3 years away. And he is our most highly ranked prospect is Jason Bliss. If you look at this man's profile, this is not the kind of guy you get excited about. Jason Bliss is a super sub. And there's nothing wrong with having super subs by any stretch of the imagination. But yeah. That's not a great look when that is your best offensive prospect. We're a little bit off with pitching. We have some offensive talent. It's just very far away from the majors. Guys like Gonzalez, Chilo could be ready next year. Travis Harlander could be ready next year. I don't think he's going to be ready next year. Oh, sorry, it's not Harlander. Harlander's going to be ready in 3 years. Chilo's ready next year. Dan Hatcher's ready next year. Tim Gress is ready next year. Wow. Something very immediate. If Miney opts out of his contract, which is very possible. Oh, sorry, no, he opts out after next year. Okay. Yeah, it's at the end of the year. Right. So the end of this year, Jane Charles we can opt out of. Chris Waters we probably opt out of. That saves about almost $40 million. I'd like to try to replace Dan Halpern at some point. I think that's my medium-term goal. Whether that's giving a guy like a Jason Cole or a Jason Bliss some starts. I wish I had you work on learning second base. I didn't think of it until right this second. So I need more offensive help. Beyond my beyond my top tier players, I need more offensive help. So that's something we're going to want to target in the draft this year. My friends, I hope you've enjoyed this episode. If you have, please remember to like and subscribe. Comment down below. Sorry that the episode wasn't as exciting as some of the others. That's what happens when you don't have any money. Owner, give me more fucking money, dude. Give me all of the money. Right now. Let's go. Until next time, this has been Guardian. Thank you for watching, and I bid you good day.